Welcome back. All right, so there you go. We've got a preseason game done. I've got a review going. For anybody who's curious right now, St. Louis and Minnesota, it's 2-1 for the Blues in the second period. And I don't have any way to watch it, so I'm okay with that. There's going to be a lot of preseason games we just don't have an opportunity to watch, which is standard. It happens every year, and people are like, why can't I see this game? Because the networks don't carry them. So here we go. Toronto and Montreal. If you're a Toronto fan, you've got to feel pretty good about things tonight. I can't get these strings to stay down, but that's fine. If you're a Montreal fan, you can look at this game and say, it's just not a big deal. It doesn't matter. So it's Caden Primo versus Michael Hutchinson to start, showing that, the teams are not putting their best necessarily in there. So Carey Price is out. Jake Allen getting the night off as well. Both Campbell and Mrazek getting the night off. This is how the preseason starts. Ho-Sang and Bunting started the game. I thought Ho-Sang had a very good game. So did Bunting. And Ho-Sang doesn't get on the board, but he does get noticed. And so remember, Ho-Sang's on a PTO. If he doesn't impress in this preseason, they don't sign him. The pressure on your veterans, like a Tavares, if Matthews was out there or a Marner, it's almost nothing. It's not like you're going to get cut, right? So maybe your motivation's not that high. For a guy like Ho-Sang, this could be the last chance. If he doesn't impress and if the Leafs don't give him a contract, then that could be it for him, right? Nylander, with a fast break. Primo makes a save there. Sandin takes a penalty at 1:04. So to start, Montreal looked like the better team. Solid penalty kill, though, by the Leafs. Keeps it at the Habs' end for the most part and only allows one shot. The shots were 2-1 in favor of Toronto 4 minutes into this game. Beaudin had a chance on a Leafs turnover. Gabriel hitting, energetic. He was really... You could tell the emotions were high for Curtis Gabriel. He wants to impress and he wants to make the team. And again, look for those efforts from guys in preseason games that you may not get from your veterans. Because again, there's no guaranteed spot for a guy like Gabriel. He wants to prove, I'm going to be a good fourth liner. Keep me around. So the Habs go back to the power play. Clune then had a hit that sent Vedemo to the locker room. I don't think Vedemo came back into the game. But again, it's a preseason game, so he may have. Another strong penalty kill. No shots allowed that time. The shots were 4-3 for the Habs. Second through the first half of the first period. So what we didn't know was this game was going to turn right after that. At 10:28, Jake Muzzin with a nice goal from Nylander and Brody. Muzzin probably saying, look, can we count that as a regular season goal? Because it was really nice. But those don't count. And then the momentum. That next shift was with Toronto. Ho-Sang, Bunting on that shift right after the goal. Getting chances. Fans trying to call a Habs penalty. Didn't work, but they tried. Romanov had a shot that was blocked. Some good back and forth. Paling was sharp. And there's Paling at a sharp angle shot that was saved. So, Paling, another one that's looking to win himself a job. Nylander, prominent still in that second half. Spezza fires one wide. Muzzin's shot was stopped. Primo looked behind him, though. So, Primo not really playing his best game tonight, but again, it's preseason, right? But in Primo's case, he's trying to show he's the number 3 goalie and the first guy they're going to call up. So Ho-Sang was then stopped, and the Habs were really flat in that second half of the period. They only had one shot. So you go to the second period. At 1:45, Paquette takes a penalty. That was drawn, I believe, by Gabriel. Gabriel had thrown a hit, and Paquette retaliated. And it gives the Leafs their first power play. And 10 seconds into the power play, it is Tavares scoring from Nylander and Sandin. So what this means is that it is a set play off of a face-off against the Habs. It's the first game of the preseason. We cannot overreact, right? However, one trend that we saw with Montreal last year in the playoffs was that they did tend to allow goals right off set face-off plays. If I'm Dominic Ducharme tomorrow, I'm sitting with the guys and saying, look, we can't be allowing those goals off faceoffs. And it's something that Montreal's going to have to work on, and they're going to have to... And the other side of this, too, is, Christian Dvorak doesn't play tonight, and so once he's in the lineup, he's pretty good on the faceoffs, so they wouldn't be losing. It felt like they lost a lot of big faceoffs in this game. The Leafs look great. The Habs look terrible. I think the Leafs were good, and I think Montreal was bad, and I think those are both equally correct. Gabriel versus Baddock fight. Baddock was given the 2 for instigating, which the announcers didn't understand. I did. He knocks Gabriel down, and then he threw his gloves down before Curtis Gabriel got up. So, makes total sense to me that he got the instigator because he was out there looking for it. Not that Curtis Gabriel wouldn't necessarily been instigating the other way if roles were reversed, but still. So he gets that. So the Leafs go to their second power play. Mikheyev deflects one wide. Toffoli with a short-handed chance that missed. Toffoli might have been the best forward for Montreal tonight. It was up there. And again, Montreal not getting a lot of shots in this game. One shot on the Leafs power play. The shots were up to 14-5 in favor of Toronto at 7 minutes. So no shots yet for Montreal in this period. Bunting then scores from Brody and Amadio at 7:25. And then right after that, Amadio tries for another. Now, here's the interesting thing. The app is telling me different guys have got the points. A, it's the preseason, so it's not a big deal. And B, preseason reporting on who gets the goals and the points, it can be really spotty, so I tend to trust what my eyeballs see and what I see on the screen more than anything else. But, yeah, so Amadio tries for another. Bowden takes a penalty. Leafs go to their third power play. Spezza nearly scores. Jason Spezza had a really good game. Mikheyev then almost gets one. And then right after the save on Mikheyev, we get our first net scrum of the preseason between Montreal and Toronto. And I thought Primo looked kind of shaky at that point. So again, Caden Primo getting into it, but you get limited chances to prove yourself as a goaltender in the preseason. But that all gets killed off. 3 shots for the Leafs. And no shots for Montreal at this point through 15 minutes of play. So that's a problem. And again, that kind of echoes what happened in the playoffs, right? They would go long stretches without shots. Bunting then had a break. McNiven holds. Because Primo holds a Spezza shot, and that's where McNiven ends up going in. He was tested right off the following faceoff. Again, Toronto getting chances off faceoffs. Bunting then had a break. McNiven held on to that. Caulfield had a break and missed wide. Caulfield, there's a lot of pressure on Cole Caulfield, so it's going to be interesting to see how he responds to that. I think last year when he came in towards the end of the year, there really wasn't any pressure on him. It was kind of we could use some goals. Let's see what this kid can do. But now the expectation's there. A lot of people are seeing him as the Calder favorite. So, we'll see how that goes. Anthony Stewart on the panel during this game said that's his pick for the Calder. And there really isn't much arguing about that. Caulfield's a really good talent. Tavares then had a chance on a Spezza turnover that was saved, so Spezza forces the turnover. Tavares gets the chance. The shots were 24-5 for the Leafs with 2 minutes left. So Montreal hadn't had a shot yet in the period, and they'd only had 1 shot in the second half of the first period. So the Habs then had a 3-man break. That misfired as well. Caulfield ends up missing on that. The Habs finally did, though, get a couple of shots before the end of the period, so they do not get 0 as their shot total in the second period. We go to the third. Ian Scott was in for the Leafs to start. Toffoli was denied in the first minute. Again, Tyler Toffoli, probably the best Montreal player in terms of forwards tonight. They only had 3 regulars on the blue line, so it's tough to get a read for how effective Montreal was in this, because again, a lot of the regulars weren't in the lineup. Not that Toronto had all their regulars out there either. Better start, though, for the Habs. Bowden had a shot that was saved. Caulfield was still fighting the puck a bit at that stage. Scott then with a glove save, but he got hurt on the play, or he had to have, because he didn't come back into the game. But he skated off relatively easily, and they thought it might be an equipment or skate issue. Hutchinson goes back in, but again, Ian Scott did not come back into the game. Paling then with a break. Hutchinson made the save. They started a wave. And that's fine. We get fans in attendance in Toronto for the first time since March of last year. Wave away. Go for it. All the waves you want to do this year. Yeah, go for it. I'm not joining a wave if I'm in a crowd, but wave away. And then Spezza to Mikheyev. That was broken up. The dislike is beginning between these teams. Again, it's a preseason game, but there's still some dislike there. Hosang then with a break. McNiven makes the save. Mikheyev shoots one wide. Lively boards off that Mikheyev net miss. Muzzin was then robbed. He was robbed a couple of times. And then Jerkai sends Kerfoot stick flying. XHET. Zurkaj. I think there might be an R in that as well, but or Zurkaj. It's a great name. If he makes the team, I'll sit down with it and I'll figure it all out. Might be the only time I have to say that name. I think there's an R in it. I think it's Zurkaj. Anyways, shortly after that, McNiven, who I had just praised on Twitter, and I would like to apologize to McNiven because I said he was playing pretty well, and he was, and then he came out to play the puck, and he hands it right to Curtis Gabriel, and as soon as he hands it to Gabriel, I went, all right, so that's going in, and it did. So I give McNiven the assist. That's in red there, maroon, and that's at 15-12 of the third period. Tavares to Ho-Sang on a 2-on-1. That was defended by Laurent Dauphin, who is one of those players fighting for a roster spot. Ian Scott did not return. Ho-Sang then with a net press. And then, right during that play, Ho-Sang's on the ice. Toffoli breaks the other way, and it's in the net. So, Toffoli breaks the shutout at 18:04 from Suzuki and Romanov. And, again, the app said Anderson, but it said Suzuki, and it showed... And anyways... but yeah, so Montreal gets a goal. It is Toffoli who is their best forward. And then in the last minute, they did press. Mikheyev with a break leads to the Leafs power play. And that could have been a penalty shot. And during the regular season, I think they normally call that a penalty shot. He gets the shot off. But he was definitely slashed while he was getting the shot off. So what we've seen in recent seasons is those will normally be called as penalty shots. But your final score is 4-1. Now... as I'm recording this, although it might be over by now, I would think, they were doing a shootout. The shootout is for the benefit of fans in attendance. It is not for my benefit with the game being 4-1 for Toronto. The game's over. They want to practice the shootout. Cool. I'm just going to do this review and post it. The shots were 32-17 in favor of Toronto. Your three stars were Jake Muzzin, John Tavares, and William Nylander. Nylander had an excellent first period. It kind of petered out during the game, but he had an excellent first period, and he did get two helpers, Tavares with a goal, and Muzzin could have had a hat trick tonight. He could have. But there you go. Toronto wins the first of, I think they have six preseason games. Anyways, so we're going to get a couple of weeks of preseason. I will review whatever's on television, which according to my phone here, isn't going to be a lot. It doesn't look like there's going to be a lot of preseason action that's going to be on TV. But I'll be here to report on what is. And I'll do up some kind of a review for on nights when there isn't. So, stay tuned for that. But, yeah, Toronto wins the game. Toronto looked good. Montreal, it's a game that doesn't necessarily matter. Again, Dvorak wasn't in the game. They didn't have Allen in net. They rested most of their veteran players. But it was a fun game to watch. Hockey is back. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you're browsing your way through, you just happen upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.